Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the Made by Mumino podcast. My name is Catherine and I'm coming to you as usual from Mönchengladbach in Germany, but I'm originally from Wales in the UK, but I live here in Germany permanently with my partner. So yes, a really warm welcome to you if you're new here and a huge welcome back if you've been here before. As usual, I put chapters in, so if there's any bits that aren't for you, feel free to skip through. And also anything I talk about is linked down in the show notes, all the yarns, patterns, shops, that kind of thing. Also links to social media, Ko-fi, that kind of thing as well. Also, I must apologise. My upstairs neighbours have got their grandkids staying with them at the moment, which is lovely. But there might be, dog barking. They brought their dog with them too. So there might be lots of noises in the background today, but we shall do our best. So yes, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's get started. Incidentally, their dog is a gorgeous wire-haired dachshund who I believe is called Gus, and he's very, very cute. He looks like a sergeant major or something with a big droopy moustache. He's very, very cute. Anyway, before we get started properly, a little bit of admin. So last episode, I announced the winner of the 2-year podiversary giveaway, and unfortunately the person hasn't got back to me. So if you haven't watched the last episode and you commented on episode 53 and you haven't watched episode 54 to see who won, go back and watch it, because you might have won a gift voucher for €20 or the equivalent for a yarn shop online or in person of your choice. So yeah, go back and check. But if you don't contact me by the next episode, then I will redraw it in episode 56. So yes, admin out the way. Let's get started with what I'm wearing today. So today I am wearing a cardigan that I did a test knit for. This is the Campside Classic by Alicia Plummer, and I tested for this a few years ago now. This is quite an old cardigan, for me anyway. But it's a really cute, simple pattern with really pretty eyelet details around the bottom half. I'll put a picture up here to show you when it was freshly knitted. It's actually grown a little bit since, and it really needs debobbling. I put it on this morning and I thought, shall I debobble it before I show it to you? I thought, no, I'll let you see it in all its glory. So yeah, I did this as a test knit for Alicia Plummer a few years ago, and it's just a really nice simple pattern, but it put me in mind because a lovely yarn shop in Maine in the USA reached out to me and asked if they could use some of my photographs from my Ravelry page, because they've just launched a knit along for the Campside range, because there's I think 2 different cardigans and at least 1 pullover all in this sort of series that Alicia Plummer published. So yeah, if you're interested in joining a knit along for those patterns, I've put a link for the shop, the Cashmere Goat, down in the description if that's for you. Anyway, so I knitted this in 2 strands of Shetland wool, 2-ply held double. I bought it in a local to me shop called Volivillish, and I don't think they do this anymore. I had a quick look on their website last night and they don't, but any similar weight yarn, Shetland 2-ply would fit perfectly. This is a pattern for a DK weight, so as I said, I held it double throughout, and it has grown a little bit, but I still really like wearing it. It's a very cozy cardigan, and I got these really cute little coconut buttons from Etsy to put on it, and I think the colour goes really nicely with the sort of a deep mustard colour. The pattern is size inclusive. It ranges from 32 to 63 inches, or 81 centimetres to 159 centimetres, and I knit the size G, which doesn't really help, does it? With A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I knit the 7th size. And just for reference, I have about 120 centimetre bust. That's about 48 inches. And I never really tell you, but I'm not the tallest person in the world. I'm 5'6" or 168 centimetres tall, because often when I went to my local knitting shop last weekend, I was talking to the owner and she said sometimes it's really difficult to see how something fits when people show them on podcasts, because in the photographs there's nothing for scale, and if the podcaster doesn't get up and shows you what they're wearing, it's I can't move. I'm surrounded by yarn and knitting. So it wouldn't really work. So I prefer to put pictures up instead, just to make it a little bit smoother, so I don't have to keep moving everything around. But yes, I'm about 5'6", about 168 centimetres tall, if that helps. But yeah, it was a really nice knit. It was, I think, a reasonably quick knit, more of a product knit than a process knit for me, this one, because it's just a simple raglan construction. But the eyelet details in the lower body did make it a little bit more interesting. I think that if I was going to make this again, I think I'd probably go down a size, because this has grown quite a lot. But to be honest, I don't think I've even re-washed it or blocked it since I made it and did the initial blocking. So it would probably benefit from a bit of a soak and a re-block, to be honest, to tighten it all up again. The main body of the cardigan is made on 4.5mm needles, which is a US 7, and it's very beginner friendly, to be honest. I think this whole range of patterns would be really nice for anybody looking to sort of do their first raglan sweater or raglan cardigan. So yeah, the cowl might be something for you if that's what you're interested in. Incidentally, if you're interested in joining a make-along, this channel is running a make-along at the moment as well. We're doing a cable mal, and all finished objects are welcome. All the details of how to enter it are down below, and you've still got until the end of April to enter if that's something you'd like to do. There are 3 prize bundles. What have we got? 3 different beautiful hand-dyed yarns. What else is there? There's some stitch markers in each bundle, and also some really cute little DPN holders as well for each of the winners. So yeah, if you want some inspiration, I've put together a little bundle of easy and accessible, I think they're all free actually as well, cable patterns on my Ravelry group, which is linked down below too. But yeah, have a look anyway for some inspiration for something maybe that you'd like to make, because some of the finished objects that have already been entered, well, all of the finished objects are really beautiful, and there's I mean, people have pulled out old WIPs and finished off cable sweaters and things as well, so it's really, really lovely that people have found it as a little bit of incentive and inspiration to get some old projects off the needles. So yeah, you'd be very welcome to join as well. Anywho, this isn't cables, but it's something that I've had on my list forever. So normally I do quite a lot of test knitting. I really enjoy test knitting. I'm a strange person. I enjoy deadlines. I find them quite motivating. And this has been on my list to do forever, but it's a finished love note. There is a definite colour theme today, isn't there? Yes, so I finished my love note and I'm so happy with it. I modified the pattern a little bit, but I'll talk you through it in a moment. If you've already knitted one of these, you might have spotted one of the obvious modifications. So I have put notes on my Ravelry page as well if you're interested in doing something similar. But basically I wanted to have a nice wide open neckline. The original pattern has a really pretty rib, but I wanted to have something that was more of a boat neck or a scoop kind of shape on it. So for my size, I would normally have cast on the 4th size, but I decided instead to cast on for the 5th size, giving me far more stitches. I think it was about 20 to 30 more stitches in the cast on. I did a provisional cast on, as I showed you in the last episode, using some try-on cords, and then I just knit the sweater as per the row instructions for the 5th size. No? Try again. I cast on the 5th size but followed the row instructions for the 4th size. So I ended up with more stitches, but it was a little bit wider. To compensate for that, there's a little raglan section just here, and I omitted 2 of the raglan increases. So, and I just knit some plain rows instead, just so that I still had that depth of yoke. But the difference between the 4th and the 5th size was in the repeats here. There was an extra half repeat of this beautiful lace pattern. So I just missed that out and ended up with similar sort of depth dimensions, but slightly wider in the circumference. And then once I'd finished doing the rest of the body and I followed the instructions for the cropped version, I went back, got those provisional stitches and did a little I-cord. just so that it had a bit of structure, but I maintained that nice wide open neckline. I'm super happy with it. If I haven't already done so, I'll put up some pictures here of me wearing it yesterday. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. This yarn is gorgeous. I made this on the recommended 6mm needles, which is, what size is that? It is a US 10. And I got the gauge that I was happy with and was recommended by the pattern. And I held a fingering weight yarn, which was West Yorkshire Spinners Solstice in the colour Nectar, with a really, really nice Surrey alpaca from Pigment and Ply. And this is what I have left over from 2 skeins. 2 skeins for a sweater. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so I've got another 2 skeins of each of these left over, because when I buy a 4-ply yarn or fingering weight yarn, I tend to buy 4 skeins if I can, just because I know I'm going to be able to knit a full garment in it for my size. And I did that, but I've ended up with this plus 2 complete skeins of each left over. So I was chatting to my mum about it the other day, and she's a knitter as well. And I offered her my leftover yarn so that she can make one as well in the same colour. And she was very interested, so I will take that back with me next time I go home. But yeah, this West Yorkshire Spinners has got a little bit of tencel in it, a little bit of cashmere, and I think it's Falkland Merino. And this baby Surrey is just, beautiful. And together then it really muted down the colour of the main West Yorkshire Spinners yarn to get this beautiful variegated effect. And I'm very happy with it. It was a super fast knit, and it sort of scratched the itch of being a sort of a process knitter with this little bit of lace, which was really accessible, a nice easy to read pattern, really well explained. It's charted and it's got written instructions as well, but I find it super easy to follow. Tin Can Knits patterns are great. I really should knit more of them, to be honest. I think I've made 1 sweater for my partner. I think that was the flax I made for him, and then this one. But I had such a nice experience with both that I'd be really tempted to knit more of their patterns. But yeah, nice easy pattern to follow. Nice bit of process knitting if you like a bit of lace or something like that. But then the rest of it, the boring bit, to be honest, the stockinette was really fast because of the gauge that you're knitting with. So yeah, overall, very happy and a successful knit, and I will definitely be wearing this a lot over the next month or so, I think, whilst the weather is still a little bit cooler. So yes, let's move on to the next one. The next finished object I've got to show you has been on my needles for months. Now, I do drive, but I don't have a car here. My partner and I share a car, and he uses it for work every day. We live in the middle of a city, and there's really good buses and things here, so I don't really bother. It doesn't really bother me not having a car. So, long story, I always have knitting in my handbag, because if I'm on a bus or on a train or something like that, or just, I don't know, waiting in the dentist's surgery or whatever. On the weekend we were waiting to have our brakes changed, and I did quite a lot of work on these then as well. I always have a pair of socks or a hat in my handbag so that I can do a little bit of knitting. Because I hadn't really been out and about that much for various reasons over the last few months, I think I cast on these socks before Christmas. I'd have to check back in my episodes because I forgot to make a Ravelry page for them. But they are finished. These are some lovely warm woolly socks that I intended to take to Iceland with me a few weeks ago, but obviously as they weren't finished I couldn't. I knit these using my normal sock recipe, and if you would like a sort of a beginner friendly sock recipe, I'll put a link down below to a nice pattern called Favourite Socks by Kristin Lehrer, and it's just a really nice pattern. But I did a 64 stitch cast on. I think I did about 15 rows of ribbing, and then I love stripy socks because you don't need to count. As long as you're counting the individual stripes, you can make sure that your leg and foot and everything is the right length without having to worry about stitch markers and measuring and all that kind of thing. So I did 15 rows for each of these stripes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, so what is that, 15, 60, 65 rows for the leg. And then I've got an EU 39 size foot, which is a UK 6, and I want to say a US 8. Is that right? If anybody's watching from the US, please tell me, because I'm probably wrong. And then I did 60 stitches for the foot, which is just what I always do, and a nice rounded toe. The yarn that I've used for this is a nice mixture. This is Tuku wool, their sock base, and it comes out more of a sport weight than a 4-ply, and it's lovely and thick and squishy. And I wanted that for the extra strength, because the other yarn that I've used is from Garthenor, their Snowdonia sock. And it doesn't have any nylon on it, so I wanted to have that little bit of extra strength in the wear points. And it's bloomed beautifully. I'll show you what I've got left over. So when I was knitting with it, as you can see, it looks very thin, but it blooms beautifully. So I used this colour, which is, I want to say, Tundra, and this colour, which was Tussock, I think. I think that's the names of them, but I've linked them down below anyway, so you can go and have a look for yourself. And I originally wanted to do much thinner stripes, but I found that because it's quite thin yarn, the sort of gap that was being made down where I was sort of carrying each colour down, it was making me a bit nervous, and I didn't really want to end up with a sock with a ladder all the way down the side where I'd carried the colours. So I ended up going for a much wider stripe and breaking the yarn in between, and luckily, because it's lovely woolly wool, I had no ends to weave in. I just wove them in as I went along and then cut off all the ends before I blocked them. But yeah, I'm really happy with them and so glad that they're finally finished. But I'll probably end up putting them away till the weather gets colder again, but never mind, it is what it is. But it's gorgeous yarn. It's quite soft now that it's been blocked, but it is quite a rustic yarn. But I've got enough left to make another pair, so I think I probably will. Maybe I'll make it so that the top is just the darker green and the bottom is the lighter green. I don't know, see how I feel. But yes, really happy with these, and so glad that they are finally out of my handbag. So that means that I could start another pair of socks. The next project I've got to tell you about is a project that's been on my to-do list for quite a while, and I bought yarn for it, I think about this time last year actually. I'm finally getting around to casting it on, which is fantastic. It's in this book from Lina, Grand Shetland Adventure Knits, gosh I can't talk today, by Gudrid Johnson and Mary Jane Muckleston. So yeah, I think it's available as a standalone pattern as well, though I think I saw that on Ravelry this morning. I'm making the Riggies cardigan. It's this gorgeous sort of cocoon shaped cardigan, which is all over garter stitch and made in panels, which you then seam together using a 3-needle bind off. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. It creates such a nice seam, and it's really strong, but it's a visible seam, so it's a really nice design feature. It's available in 3 sizes, going from 49 inches to 66 inches, or 124 centimetres to 167.5. And I would like quite a bit of positive ease, so yeah, making the 3rd size. I think I've got gauged so far on the recommended needles, which are a US 7 or a 4.5mm needle for the ribbing, or a 5mm US 8 for the main body. So yeah, I seem to be getting gauged so far, but I'm going to finish the first panel that I'm working on and then block it and just double check, because it's all seamed. I don't really want to risk it coming out too small or too big. I suppose too big isn't too much of an issue, but too small would be. So I just want to make sure that I'm on the right track. I've talked about gauge swatching before. I'm not a fan. I'm lazy, basically. But also I find that if you're making something like a raglan, or even something that's a drop shoulder, you can kind of fudge it a little bit if you're not quite getting gauge. Just add a few stitches here or there. Add a few rows here or there just to get the size that you want. But with something like this, it needs to be a bit more accurate, because there's no wiggle room for extra knitting and extra stitches until it's all done, basically, and then you've seamed it and it's a bit late to go back. So this pattern calls for a DK weight yarn, and I am using Woolly Knit British 4-ply. Excellent workhorse yarn. It is it's a bit deceptive because, again, like the other yarn that I showed you, it looks very thin. It looks like a light fingering weight or even a lace weight, but when it blocks, it blooms a lot. So if you're not used to working with this, I would definitely recommend doing a gauge swatch just for the first time, just to see how you get on with it, because you'll be surprised how much it blooms when it's blocked. The colour that I'm using is called, Dark Apple, and on each cone you get 500 grams. I think it works out at like 2,000 metres plus per cone or something. I can't remember, to be honest. I have to look it up. But I can easily get this pattern out of these 2 cones whole double. And it's just really nice to have the 2 cones sat on the floor next to you. You don't have any ends to weave in, you just keep on going, and yeah, it's not very portable, obviously. But it's just really nice to work with, and I've made so many things using this yarn. It's a very good price point, and if you want to sort of try your hand at more rustic yarns, it's a good place to start to see if you get on with it. So yes, that is what I'm using. Just put those down. I'll show you what I've done so far. So this is the front left panel, I believe. I seem to remember. Make sure that doesn't fall off my needles. And it's really clever. So you cast on that bottom edge. I've used a cable cast on. I find that it's sort of, I find it a little bit nicer for this type of thing than using a long tail cast on, just because you don't need to worry about having a super long tail, because there are so many stitches to cast on. You just create each stitch from the stitch before, and also it just creates a very sort of nice firm line going down what's going to then end up being one of the front seams. And straight away you start putting in short rows for the front panel shaping, and I think I'm almost there. I think I've almost done all of the short rows that I need to, although I did make a mistake. I assumed I didn't read the pattern properly. So the first mistake that I made was the number of stitches I had to leave before creating a turn, a short row. I'd left 2 stitches but instead of 1, which made quite a big difference when you're doing lots and lots of short rows. And the second mistake that I made was I always do German short rows. I find it's quite a neat stitch. However, it means then that you have to resolve kind of a double stitch when you're working back along the row again, to just continue doing your flat knitting or whatever. And that doesn't work in this instance. You actually do need to do wrap and turns for this, as it said in the pattern that I should do. So I'd got pretty much to the same place that I am here, and I suddenly realised I don't have enough stitches left. This isn't right. So I read the pattern again and realised the error that I'd made, or the errors that I'd made. So I had to rip it all the way back. Didn't want to lose my cast on because I was really happy with the cast on. So I managed to rip it back to 1 row above it so that I could go and pick up those stitches. It's another advantage of using really woolly wool. The stitches just tend to sit there instead of disappearing and laddering down. So yeah, that's where I am so far. Lovely garter stitch panel. And I'm going to really enjoy working on this, and I can't wait to wear it. I saw this pattern and I thought that is exactly what I need to go over dresses and things like that as an extra layer when I don't really want to wear a jacket, but I want to have that little bit extra warmth. So yeah, really looking forward to having this. Not much to show you yet, but hopefully I'll make some nice progress on it over the next couple of weeks, and I'll be able to show you a bit more in the next episode. I have another WIP to show you. As I said, I was able to cast on a new pair of socks as a handbag project. How cute is this? I think I showed you the yarn in the last episode. Take that out of there. As you can see, I use Addy Trios for socks, just because I find it much easier not to have to take DPNs as well as a small circular. I don't really get on with magic loop. My preferred method is using a small circular, but then you have the problem of what to do when you get to the toe and need to do the decreases. And also with these needles, because it's bamboo and they're so short, I can take these on planes. Well, they haven't been a problem so far. So yes, I have cast on just a little vanilla sock. Well, it's not vanilla, is it? I'm doing a 2x2 rib all the way down. I want something that's going to be a nice, comfy, squishy sock to wear. And this is the yarn that I'm using. It's called Rose Garden, and it's by a yarn dyer in the Netherlands called Spin Godin. And I bought it at a yarn festival last year, maybe? I'm not sure. And I also picked up this little mini from the same designer, the same dyer, sorry, to use with it. Oh, I've got a label here as well. That's rather organised, isn't it? So here's the label. And the makeup of this is, it's a standard sock base. It's 25% superwash merino and 25% nylon. They'll be nice squishy socks that I can put in the washing machine on a gentle cycle. I do wash my hand knitted socks in the washing machine. Obviously I won't wash the ones that aren't superwash that I've just finished. But I find that if I put them in a net bag on a 30-degree delicate wash, they're absolutely fine. I have had one pair of socks felt, but I think I might have just been unlucky. I think they were kind of squished in a little bit, but yeah. Do you wash your socks in the washing machine as well? I'm curious. I was so nervous the first time I did it, and I thought, do you know what? I'll go through these socks so sort of quickly, and I saved them all up, and I used to hand wash them all at the same time, and I thought life is too short for this, so I did a little experiment and popped a pair in the washing machine. They were absolutely fine. So I thought, do you know what, it means I can knit more socks if they felt. So yes, that is my current handbag project, small beginnings. I'm going to take the 2x2 rib all the way down and then continue it just on the top of the foot. I'll just do plain stockinette for the bottom, I think. But I do love a ribbed sock. They just squeeze and just fit perfectly. And I find that a ribbed sock is really good for gift knitting as well, because you have a little bit more flexibility in how wide or so on that somebody's foot is, because they've got that stretch in them. So it means that they'll sort of fit a little bit more snugly, and you don't need to be quite so precise about what size somebody's foot is width-wise, if you can't get a hold of their actual foot to measure it. So again, I'm just doing a 64 stitch cast on and a 2x2 rib all the way down. Nothing exciting, but a lovely little handbag project. And also, they're in a new project bag. I picked this up in a new to me yarn shop in a little city called Neuss that's near here, and there's going to be a tour of that actually at the end of the episode. I was Googling around looking for somewhere to take you on a tour with me, and I came across a local yarn shop that's not too far away, about half an hour by car, that sold John Arbon, and they had loads of local yarn, lots of woolly yarn, some other big box ones, some brands that I hadn't heard of or come across before, a really nice selection of other crafty goodies like spinning fleece and fabric and all sorts of different things. And the owner, Sandra, she was absolutely lovely. I emailed her last week to ask if it was okay to go for, do a little bit of filming there, and she pretty much instantly got back to me and said, yep, sure, no problem, see you on Saturday. So my partner and I went there on Saturday and had a really nice hour wandering about her shop and having a really nice chat. So if you're in the area and you want to go and have a look, I do strongly recommend it. There is street parking around the shop nearby. But yeah, I really do recommend it. It's a lovely shop and Sandra was super welcoming. So yeah, she made this, and the little yarn ball on the front is a lino print. And it's just really cute. I saw it and I thought, oh, that has to come home with me. It's my colour. I love pink. Also, it's got a divider. I don't know if I can show you this. Down the middle. So I think it would work quite well if you want to knit concurrent socks, because you could put one ball of yarn on each side so they wouldn't get tangled up together. So yeah, really nice little drawstring pouch. I suppose that's a good opportunity to go into Irresponsible Purchases and show you what else I got. I don't know why I always feel guilty showing you. Never mind. I picked up some John Arbon. I picked up 4 skeins of this scrumptiousness. This is their Harvest Hues range, and the colour is called Speedwell. I mean, look at the blues and the purples in that. It is glorious. I've loved this colour for ages. I've got a really small amount of it that I used in a colour work project when I did a test knit for John Arbon a couple of years ago. And I knew that I wanted more. I got some fibre in this colourway and I've spun it up, but I'm not a good enough spinner to sort of trust myself to make a whole sweater quantity. So I thought I'll let them do the work for me, and I'll get some skeins of this. So I have 4 skeins of this goodness. Oh, it's so beautiful. The makeup of this is 100% wool, it's 33% BFL, 33% Falklands Merino and 33% Sparklers. By my maths that leaves 1%. Air, maybe. And the weight of this is 400 metres per 100 gram skein, and it's just gorgeous. I do have an idea in mind of what I'm going to make with this. I saw, oh sorry, it was upside down. There we go, try again. I saw a pattern a while ago from, is it Unwind Knitwear, I think is the name of the designer, for the low tide sweater. I'll put a picture up here. I thought this is gorgeous. It's so delicate. It's got little cables, a little bit of lace work. This would be good for the mal, the cable mal as well, actually. I just really wanted to make it, and this is enough because it's a 4-ply pattern. This is enough to do it. So could I be really naughty and cast on something else? I do have a couple of blankets that are looking at me guiltily, I must admit, that I do want to do a little bit of work on. I'll see how I feel in the next couple of days, but I do really want to cast on that jumper. It's just so pretty and so delicate, and I've got a little hankering to make more cables at the moment as well. I could use that as an excuse, couldn't I? Something for the mal. I'll have a think. So I think that's what this is going to become. When I was there, I couldn't say no. I picked up a little bit of spinning fibre as well. It's just really pretty, blended pinks. And this is just 100% merino. So yeah, 100 grams of pretty fibre to continue my spinning journey on. I am slowly improving. In fact, I'll quickly show you a skein that I've just plied up. So my local knitting group, there's a really lovely lady there who has, I dread to think how big her stash is, because she just seems to have so much yarn that she gives it away to people all the time. And she gave me some fibre that she dyed up herself. I'm not sure what the makeup is. It feels like it's got a lot of silk in it, so I'll need to double check with her what it is. There was no label. And yeah, I spun that up last week, let it rest for a day or so, and then very loosely plied it. It's a very open ply, and I deliberately wanted that because I'm intending to use it as weft for weaving. I'd like to make a scarf out of this because it is incredibly soft. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I think it'll make a beautiful scarf. And I kind of had in my head that maybe, I don't know if, yeah, that will go. I apologise for the crinkling. I'll quickly take this out of the bag so we can have a proper look at it. So yes, this is the braid, and that's the other one. Do you know what? I think that will go quite nicely actually. It's picking up some of the more muted pinky tones, but I was thinking of spinning this up and using this as the warp, so I'll spin this a little bit tighter than I did this one with a slightly tighter ply, and then I'll use this as the weft. Oh gosh, it's so soft. I was saying to somebody the other day that I got into spinning because the process fascinated me. I really wanted to learn how to do it, but also I naively assumed that it would slow me down a little bit, that I would spend more time spinning fibre to knit with. Yeah, but there are 2 issues with that. Firstly, it appears that they are 2 completely separate hobbies, and buying fibre has just it's just opened up a whole new can of worms. Also, it's the confidence to spin a complete sweater quantity of something. I have bought a sweater quantity in readiness for doing that. I had some beautiful fibre from John Arbon for my birthday last year from my parents, but I just haven't sort of built up the confidence or I don't know what it is, to actually go for it and see if I can do it, because I'm still spinning a little bit thick and thin. But I'm really enjoying the process of learning. But yes, don't be under any assumptions. If you're thinking about getting into spinning, it's a whole new can of worms. And buying fibre and spinning it up is a somewhat separate hobby for me at the moment. Maybe they will converge in the future, but right now it's something a bit different. So that's what I've been up to. In other bits and pieces, I've also been doing a little bit of weaving, so I'll just grab what I've been making. My mum had some leftover cotton yarn on some cones, and she tried knitting with it, but it actually hurt her hands. It was quite thick cotton. Her intention was to make it into dishcloths or tea towels or something, and I suggested that maybe I could weave her something out of it instead. So last year I made them in the kitchen. They have this, it looks like the sort of rod that you would put a kitchen roll onto, but they have like this loop towel, an infinity towel. I don't know what they're actually called. So I've made them a couple of those. I made one for them last year, and I've just finished making another one. It's not desperately interesting, but which is the reverse? I'm not sure. So yes, just made a nice big 100% cotton towel for them. I'm going to seam it at the top, just so that it sort of creates that loop thing for them, and I'll take it back with me next time I go back to the UK. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. I've been trying to be a bit sort of spreading my time a little bit more evenly around my different crafts, because mostly I love knitting. I really do thoroughly enjoy it, but I do find that when it's a bit warmer in the summer, it does get quite hot here, sometimes up to about 40 degrees centigrade. And I just don't feel like knitting when it's that hot. But weaving and spinning seem to be okay though. So I was trying to sort of bring it more into my sort of weekly routine of when I have some time during the day to actually sit down and do other things instead of always gravitating towards knitting. Don't worry, I won't stop knitting. That's definitely my primary hobby. But I really want to improve in the other things that I'm doing, so I thought I'd try and work on that a little bit more as well. And I think that's about it that I've got to talk to you about today. Yeah, I've shown you my projects, shown you what I've picked up out and about. So there's only a little tour to show you now. So the name of the shop is Yuniku, and the lovely owner, Sandra, she was just, as I already said earlier, she was just so welcoming and really knowledgeable about her stock and really happy to chat about it. So I really do recommend going there if you're in the area. And after that, my partner and I went for a lovely walk around a local schloss to enjoy the magnolia and the blossoms and everything. And there's a little bit of footage of that afterwards as well, if that's something that would interest you. So there's nothing else to say really, other than to have a wonderful week. And I hope to see you very soon in a couple of weeks with maybe some progress on my Riggies Cardi. Who knows? Anyway, happy crafting, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.